lovelies, I'm Angela and this is Parisienne Farmgirl. Bienvenue and welcome to my channel. If you never have, quickly subscribe. And of course, make sure that you are following over on Instagram because that's where I'm posting pictures of the garden every day and the home and all the remodeling and interior design that we're doing here at Sur Le Rocher. I have something really special for you today. You know I've been rummaging around in the archives because there's so many new subscribers to the channel. And I was wondering how much of old content people have seen. So I've gone back and I've pulled two really special videos. One is us creating this garden. It's 4.5 years ago. The kids are small. We're hauling logs. We are working our tails off to create this space. And then I'm going to share with you a really sweet video of us putting that garden to bed that winter, the night before the frost. I get a little choked up knowing all the work that went into the space. I'm getting a little choked up just thinking about it now. In the middle, I'm going to do the hose giveaway that I promised you during that Snapdragon video last week. And then I'm going to share with you a little bit of what this space looks like now. We've been harvesting. There's this beautiful August vibe going on, this very special time in the garden where you have late summer and you're merging into fall. There's still a lot of color, but the onions are looking really magnificent. The gourds are overhead, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you. So stick around because we have a lot of different content. Now, of course, my little disclaimer will be, these are old videos. So this is pre-mic, this is pre-tripod, this is pre-understanding anything about recording, but nonetheless, these memories are very special, and I'm honored to share them with you. What we're trying to create here is like the perfect combination of French style potager meets English cottage garden. It's only 60 days old and a proper garden takes about a decade to develop. So we're in the fledgling stage. Half of what you see was forest, so we've been pushing the forest back to create this space and then using whatever we can get our hands on from around the property. So we're cutting down trees to create just delineation of the beds that we're making. In clearing this potager of trees, we had a ton of wood that we needed to get creative with because we didn't want to spend the time hauling it to the edge of the property and creating a big burn pile. So we decided to make a very inexpensive deer fence. Now it is 13 some odd acres of forest. There are a lot of deer. Now I know this isn't deer proof, I know that, but it is pretty and it was free. So we had a ton of leftover those green fence posts from the old farm. So about every 6 to 10 to 12 feet, we would drive one of those in the ground all the way around as best we could because every other time we would hit a rock. And then what we did was we would take the prettier pieces of wood and zip tie them to the fence posts and create sort of a giant wattle fencing. So it's a very loose wattle, it's not very tight, but it allowed me and the kids to be able to just come in and take, you know, just a branch, whatever we would find in the scrub pile as we were creating, wind it through, and we just did that over and over and over again. So I have a couple branches I'm just going to show you. Again, very loose, using the curve of the branch sometimes, drive it in there, and wedge it in like that. So I did that over and over and over and over and over again. And again, using our measurements with Aiden's drone, created a huge arc, and then this really pretty curve here behind what I call the meadow, because it was a ton of weeds and I didn't really know what to do with it. There was no way that I could till this. There were so many rocks. We just decided to leave it because we saw lupine starting to grow. Now it's this really pretty patch of lupine and asparagus and wild daisies and tons of chives. It's actually one of my favorite features of the garden. It's so sweet right off the order that we've created to have this little bit of chaos and the charm of the rounded fence. It's Door County, so every time you stick your spade or your shovel in the ground, doink, you hit a rock. So we're grabbing each rock and using it to create borders or build rock walls. And that's something that I'm most proud of is the rock walls. They're amazing, and they have that English cottage garden look that I'm going for. Totally appropriate for Door County. And here's a little story about how we found the rocks. Okay, so I'm going to show you this from another side. You can see, now I'm on the far side of my property. Can I find it with my finger here? And this stone wall was really substantial, and it's just tumbled down. So it's like, in some areas, it is a good 8 feet wide. So we're just going to load it up, and we're going to give it new life, which is really exciting because somebody worked really hard. In fact, we just found a rusted flask among the rubble. So somebody worked really hard a long time ago to build this orchard wall, and now we're going to use it for the potager, and it's going to be amazing. I shared with you last week in my Snapdragon video, which you can watch by clicking that up there, that I was going to be doing a giraffe retractable hose giveaway. I'm literally obsessed with this hose. It extends 150 feet into my garden. I can take it all the way one way, I can take it all the way other. There's no winding involved. I just give it a tug and it goes right back in really gentle. It's got all sorts of different settings, and this is my favorite garden toy of the season, to be sure. So we're going to be giving one away. So what I want you to do is be sure to read this video description on how to enter the giveaway, and we will ship one out to the lucky winner. The giraffe hose reel is pre-installed, like I said, with a 150-foot hybrid hose, which can lock at any length as you desire and covers every corner of your garden. You just give the hose a gentle tug and it will retract automatically back in. It's really easy to assemble. Joel installed it on the front of the house. We have an additional one on the side of the house, and we put one out in the Euro Village with the animals. With a quick release system, you can also easily lift on the handle to remove the reel for storage for when you're ready to bring your hose in for the winter, like we have to do here in Wisconsin, for example. The hose has a limited 2-year warranty for easy shopping, so check the link in this video description so you can buy your own, and of course, be sure to enter for the drawing. I'm so excited to be able to send one of these to the lucky winner.
I'm Parisienne Farmgirl, and the frost is gonna come tonight, and I'm saving all the plants with Mom.
Oh, good job, cutie. It's sad. I'm really sad. This is it. Like, the solar lights just turned on, and we're gonna have a hard frost, and that's it. That's the first year of our garden. I might cry. That is a beautiful dahlia.
I do want it to frost.
Let me see it. Oh, she's beautiful.
Oh, it's so pretty. It's like a white sunflower.
Why?
Just rubbery.
Now it's gonna be winter.
Can I see those scissors? Take some more time. Down deep. Right here, right here. If you can't do it, Mama can do it. It's very strong. It's a very good rosemary.
I don't like it.
So I brought most of them in.
And we're just really sad because our garden.
Yeah, Mom is.
We worked really hard on this garden a long time ago. And this is our last frost.
First frost.
First!
The
And Mom is already crying.
Huh?
Oh, Mama, we should cut this one.
Do you want that for your bedroom? That's a forget-me-not. We won't ever forget our first garden here, right? Cat, move your tail. That looks really effective.
It's no different than what's
Oh, that's perfect. I am bringing in rosemary. I put some rosemary on Instagram a couple days ago. Pictures from my greenhouse of a lot of rosemary plants that I brought in, and I got barraged with questions on how I overwinter my rosemary, and it's true. Growing rosemary in the Midwest can be very disheartening. It's not Napa, Napa Valley where it grows big like a hedge, cypress. They have them just huge. They're gorgeous in California, but here we go through all this work. We enjoy the herb all summer, and then it's kind of like, that's it. But you can actually bring your rosemary in for the winter. I bring mine in terracotta pots, but you can bring them in and keep them over winter. They bloom adorable little purple flowers around February, I think. So I'm gonna take this inside and give you some hints on overwintering your rosemary.
you doing, Anais? I am getting my bike. Hi, Junior. What's up?
He's beautiful. Gosh, they're so hardy looking. Gorgeous. That is so beautiful to me. Gosh.
Hey, how you doing, babe?
It feels really, so we had the garden before in McHenry, and it was gorgeous. It was so gorgeous. Stupidly, before I had children, I wondered if I would love it as much as I love my kids, which of course is so dumb because of now knowing 13 years later how much I love being a mom. But I did wonder. I mean, I love my garden, and it still catches my breath when I see it on Pinterest. And after everything we went through, just wondering if I would ever have that again. You know, I think we did a fantastic job at Halfway Farm, making a rental farm look charming and a place where we could recover, but it's not the same as having your own garden where you're planning ahead and, you know, contemplating a layered garden, and the future was not a luxury that I had at Halfway. And so to be here and be planting tulip bulbs and thinking, what are these going to be like 4 years from now when the garden's established, and perennials, and will I want to take them out, will I want to move them around, just all the giddy thoughts, the extravagance of being able to plan for the future artistically in this space it's incredible. I'm doing great.
What's he doing? I'm planting green. Cool.
All right, chances are you've killed a few rosemary just like I have, so this isn't a definitive example of everything you can do to overwinter your rosemary. I'm just going to tell you a few hints, things that I've done. Number one, really to have the best results with overwintering your rosemary, you want to start them in pots, okay, not in your herb garden. I am stubborn, so I start them in my herb garden and then I dig them up. But rosemary does not like to be transplanted. So they always go through this initial shock where they're not very happy with me for the first couple days. So when you do that, when you're digging them out, mind the roots, make sure that you get as much of them as possible, and they will tell you how happy they are. So I have one that's very pleased with me right here, and I have this guy who is not so happy. So if you get a little droopage factor after you bring your rosemary in, what you're gonna wanna do is divide it into thirds and give it a proper haircut. Okay, so I won't do this all right here, but I'm going to take off like the top third. And then of course have delicious rosemary potatoes for dinner. Don't waste that rosemary. And then you want to completely soak this bad boy. In fact, soak them all. Don't wait for them to go into that transplant shock. You want to put so much water in that it's coming out the bottom, it's coming out the top. Give them an initial fabulous hosing for sure. But that's what you want to do when you got that droopage, if you have a rosemary plant that's mad at you because of the transplant. Now, what you're trying to do in your greenhouse or in the sunniest room in your home, as best you can, is you're trying to imitate the climate of Provence and Italy and Napa, all right? But you have less humidity, so you've turned on your furnace and you're drying them out. I'm sure you've had it happen where they get all crispy and sad and pathetic. That's because of your furnace, most likely. So you want to keep the humidity up in your greenhouse, 50–55%, and you can come by and give them a spritz just to help replicate that humidity. You can do it once or twice a day. Very easy. Let the kids do it. They'll love it. They love an excuse to squirt on anything. But you can do that to keep the humidity up. You can also do what they call humidity trays. Take those seed trays that you might not be using right away, that you're going to be using like in March, for example. Put some pebbles in, put some water in, keep the humidity going in your greenhouse. Don't set your rosemary right next to a heat vent. Keep it away from that blasting heat. And last but not least, as far as watering them, they will tell you, the soil will tell you when they need water. So you can just put your finger in the soil. Now this one's perfect, actually. There's not really any clumps coming out on my finger, just a little bit, but it's not dusty, okay? If you put your finger in and it feels totally dry, you know, halfway down your finger, it's time to water your rosemary. So you don't want to overwater, you don't want to underwater, you want to give them a trim if they went into transplant shock, and ideally, the rosemary that you're going to take back and forth from your potager to your greenhouse to enjoy over the winter, you want to have those in pots, like on your patio. You don't want to be digging them out of the ground, but it can be done because I do it. Now in February, these will flower, adorable little purple flowers. I'll be happy, they'll be happy, and then I will put them back in the ground come spring. Ooh, I think we'll have rosemary on our pasta even tonight. Just dump the bag in. Oh, brilliant, brilliant.
Bravo!
Merci bien.
Yeah.
Merci. Thank you. Okay, we're done here. Oh, brother.
Done.
Done.
Night.
The night-night tulips.
Night.
Night-night.
Oh, shirt.
What?
Shirt.
Shirt? Yeah, it's a garden shirt. Those videos are very sweet. They're very sweet to me. Looking at this space, it's incredible. Like, I could not have imagined all of this lavender. I couldn't have imagined the ponds. I did imagine that one, but just to watch it come into its own and see that those log beds we made are still holding their own, they're still doing the job. I think that first year I didn't have any roses. Maybe I had one or two that I brought from the old house. But now that the David Austins are in place and they're growing, the garden is bringing us food. I'm going to share some of our harvest with you in the upcoming weeks. But let's just walk around together. I'm going to show you the buzzing bees, show you what this looks like at this 4-year mark. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was fun to look back, and it's going to be incredible to keep moving forward. I'd love it if you stuck around and watched this video right here. And of course, if you love gardens and interior design and all things Old World, make sure that you're subscribed to the Old World Design Society. It's a quarterly print and/or digital publication and one design class a month. And you can do that by clicking this white circle right here. I will see you again very soon. A bientôt.